Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to dive into a story that is completely rewriting the rules of the global tech race. We're talking about AI, of course, but this isn't the story you think you know. It's about a huge shift in thinking, one that's redefining what's possible for AI not just in India, but for the entire world. So let's start with the big one. Who do you think is actually winning the global AI race? For a long time, the answer seemed so simple, right? But believe me, the ground is shifting, and the biggest surprise might just be coming from a place you least expect. For ages, the narrative was pretty much set in stone. It was all about the US and its titans like OpenAI, Google, you know the names. They were the undisputed center of the AI universe. They built the biggest, most powerful models, they set all the rules, and they totally drove the conversation. But that dominance was about to get its first real wake-up call. All right, so the first big shock to the system wasn't about building a bigger model. It was about building a smarter, more efficient one. And this first wave of disruption kicked off what we can now call the efficiency revolution. Suddenly, this new lab called DeepSeek just burst onto the scene, and they directly challenged that whole bigger is always better idea that everyone in AI was obsessed with. They rolled out a model that was a real game changer, forcing the entire industry to rethink how much it really costs to be intelligent. So get this, their model was rumored to have a mind-boggling 1 trillion parameters. Now, you can think of parameters as the little dials and knobs an AI uses to learn and build its knowledge. 1 trillion of them? That puts you in the same league as the biggest models out there. But honestly, the sheer size of it wasn't even the craziest part. No, the number that really blew everyone's mind was this one. It was rumored to be 97% cheaper to run than its competition. I mean, how is that even possible, right? Well, the answer is in a really clever piece of architecture that just flips the economics of AI on its head. You see, DeepSeek uses something called a mixture of experts, or MOE. Let me put it this way. A normal AI model is like hiring an entire symphony orchestra, with every single musician just to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It's total overkill. But MOE is way smarter. It only calls on the specific musicians, the experts that it needs for that one song. And that targeted approach makes it incredibly efficient. And you know it's a big deal when even your rivals have to admit it. This quote says it all. DeepSeek basically shattered the myth that world-class intelligence has to come with a world-class price tag. Now that was the first major shock, but the second one, that was about to change the game entirely. Okay, so that was wave one, the efficiency revolution. But while the whole world was getting obsessed with making things bigger and cheaper, something different, something really special, was brewing right here in India. This wasn't about cost, it was about context. And it's what people are now calling India's sovereign AI moment. Right in the heart of Bengaluru, a startup called Sarvam AI was looking at all this and asking a totally different and, I think, a much more important question. They weren't asking, how can we be cheaper? They were asking, how can we be better for India? And this led them to champion this brilliant idea of sovereign AI. It's a powerful concept. It basically says we're done with just consuming AI that's built somewhere else. It's about building our own models from the ground up, right here, trained on our data for our needs. It's about creating an AI that truly gets us. I mean, just think about a typical government file or a bank statement here in India. You've got English, you've got a regional language, you've got tables, stamps, handwritten notes, all on one page. You show that to a big global model and it just gets confused. Sarvam saw that mess not as a bug, but as its core mission to solve. Okay, so that's a great mission, a great idea. But does it actually work? Well, let's look at the proof, because this is where the story gets really, really good. Sarvam didn't just talk the talk. They delivered results that are making everyone, everywhere pay attention. Let's start with understanding documents. So they took their model and tested it on a global English-first benchmark. They went up against the heavyweights, like Google's Gemini Pro. And what happened? Sarvam didn't just compete, it won. It sent a clear message. An Indian model can be a world beater. Now, beating the giants at their own game, that's incredible. But the real test, the one that truly matters for us, is how well it performs on the vast, complex, beautiful landscape of Indian languages. This is the home field advantage. And would you look at that? This is where Sarvam just blows the competition away. Across Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Bengali, it's not even close. The results are crystal clear. The model that was built in India for India on Indian data, well, it just understands India better, period. And they didn't just stop at reading. They tackled speaking, too. Their text-to-speech model, called Bulbul V4, is setting a whole new standard for natural-sounding AI voices in our languages. It's beating competitors where it matters, like in call centers, and it makes far fewer of those annoying mistakes like skipping words. You know, maybe the best seal of approval you can get is when you win over the people who doubted you. Tech commentator Didi Das, who was initially skeptical about this whole approach, came out and publicly said that Sarvam now has the best tools for Indian languages. That's a huge deal. So let's zoom out. What does all of this really mean for the future? Well, Sarvam's success isn't just a victory for one company. It's a sign that the entire global AI landscape is changing. We're moving towards a new kind of world order for AI. So here are the key takeaways. First, AI is no longer just a two-horse race between the US and China. Second, Sarvam proved that focusing on local needs can actually create world-class, globally competitive tech. And maybe most importantly, this is a massive moment for India. We're shifting from just being consumers of AI to becoming creators of our own foundational models. And that leaves us with this incredible question to think about. What happens to the world when every nation, every culture has the power to build its own AI that truly gets its own unique context? The race isn't about finding one winner anymore. It's about empowering a whole world of them. And that right there is India's incredible AI moment. It's a powerful testament to what homegrown innovation can achieve. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more content just like this.